Vaccines, vaccines, miracles or poisons, angels or demons? Actually, neither. Let us look at how they work and why they are useful and understand why. The main idea behind the use of vaccine is that our immune system has a wonderful capability to remember bad things. Usually, any bad pathogen, virus, bacteria, or parasite, has certain difficulties getting in. There are impenetrable barriers like skin or tiny moist hairs in the nose to stall them, saliva, tears, and gastric juices to kill them, and at last, a whole army of immune cells to confront them. There are two major armies of immune cells available in our body. One, the innate immunity division, is usually stocked with spies and killers. They circle through the bloodstream, always on the lookout, and when they see someone wearing strange clothes, proteins that are not found in our own cells, they go for the arrest and kill. Then some of the cells, called dendritic cells, go to the nearest military base, lymph nodes. There she shows the clothes, proteins to some of the representatives of two elite squads of adaptive immunity division, B cells and T cells. They are much more critical than innate immunity cells. They look into the proteins very carefully and make special ammo. B cells make antibodies, proteins that bind tightly to the proteins that the foreigner has and make it an easy target. As for T cells, they form tentacles, receptors that can perfectly catch the offending pathogen so that it can, again, be killed. The beauty of the adaptive immunity system is not only that they are very picky and very thorough in targeting only the specific offenders, it also remembers most of them. Some B and T cells, once understanding what receptors and antibodies to make, go deep into the lymph nodes. They become memory cells. They do not disturb the naive T and B cells that have never seen a battle, but instead, they bide their time. And when a private dendritic cell brings them the same clothes again, they attack quickly and viciously, much better than the inexperienced naive cells could. So, if encountering the pathogen can make the immune system remember it and kill it, why do we need vaccines? Because viruses and bacteria can wreak real havoc on our body. They trick the immune system and produce toxins that poison the cells. They dive into the cells, make them their slaves, and kill them. They can make the immune system so mad that it can attack civilians, the cells of the body, instead of the enemy. And sometimes the immune system just cannot cope with the infection. That is when people die, develop chronic diseases, or some kind of disability. Even some relatively harmless viruses like chickenpox virus can't hide in the body and cause a very painful illness in adults, shingles. So, vaccines are used to acquaint the adaptive immunity system with the pathogen without actually making the person sick. There are several kinds of vaccines. Some contain very, very weak viruses or bacteria. They are not able to fight or cause an infection, but are enough to warn the system of the danger and be written down. Some contain dead pathogens, and some, only parts of them or the toxins they produce. The first two types of vaccines contain more information for the immune cells to work with. But some parts of the weak cells or dead cells can actually cause overreaction, allergy. That is why the third type of vaccines are considered safer, but the immune memory in their case may be weaker, which is why those vaccines usually contain immune boosters, adjuvants, that call up more cells to arms. There are many problems with vaccines now because there are a lot of children with allergies or weak immune systems. Also, the first vaccines were more toxic, because the technology in the 20th century was not enough to eliminate impurities, and doctors knew far less about the human body compared to now. On the other hand, with some pathogens like influenza, it is quite useless to expect the pathogen to wear the same clothes. It changes them very quickly because of mutations, and that is why flu vaccinations are carried out every year. But there is a lot of research done to understand how immune cells memorize the information on their enemies and how to make the body remember those facts better. And of course, researchers try to make vaccines safer and more effective. But it is very costly to make new vaccine. It has to be tried and tested, and then used only once or twice in the person's life, unlike, for example, antibiotics or heart medicine. There are not many new vaccines, and for some illnesses like malaria or HIV, it is very hard to make one. What vaccines do not do? They do not cause autism. Autism is a genetic disease and is usually not much influenced by events in our life like vaccinations or food.